Group 4, Fraction and Operation on Fraction. Business application regarding fraction and fraction operation. Fraction represent a part of a whole. It consists of a numerator and a denominator. The numerator is the number above the fraction bar. The fraction bar is called the vinculum, which indicate division. The denominator is the divisor. It shows how many parts of a whole is divided. Example, 1/2, 1/3, 2/3, and 2/5 is a fraction. Elements of a fraction. The fraction a and b is composed of a numerator a and denominator integers. An integers, Latin word meaning whole, is a number that can't be written without a fractional component. Example, 21, 4, 0, and negative 2048 are integers while square root of 2 is not. Square root of 2 is not an integers because it is irrational, which means it's not a perfect square. While square root of 3 is an example of an integers. Number 1, proper fraction operation. Number 2, mixed fraction operation. Number 3, improper fraction operation. Number 1, proper fraction. Number 2, mixed fractions. Number 3, improper fraction. Number 4, equivalent fractions. Number 5, complex fraction. Proper fraction. A fraction in which numerator is less than denominator means a fraction that is less than 1. For example, 2/3, 3/6, 5/7, 16/40. Mas mataas ang denominator kaysa sa numerator. Proper fraction. A fraction in which numerator is greater than or equal to the denominator. Example, 3/2, 6/3, 5/5, 40/16. Sa improper fraction naman, mas malaki naman ang numerator niya kaysa sa denominator. Pag equal naman ang numerator and denominator, which is improper fraction pa rin siya. Mixed fraction. A mixed number is a fraction that include both whole number and a proper fraction. For example, 4 and 2/3 plus 5 and 1/4 plus 7 and 4/5. Pag may whole number siya and proper fraction, which means mixed fraction siya. Katulad ng 4 and 2/3.
Equivalent fraction. Equivalent fraction are defined as those fractions which are equal to the same value, respective of their numerators and denominators. Example, 1/2 is equivalent to 2/4, 3/6, 4/8, 5/10, and 6/12, and 7/12. The equivalent fraction can be only made by multiplying and dividing. And whatever I do to the numerator, I've got to do to the denominator. A complex fraction. Complex fraction is a fraction whose numerator or denominator are also fraction or combination of fraction. It may be simplified by reducing the entire numerator and enter the denominator into a single fraction. Example, a/b over c divided by, you can rewrite it and divide, and b divided by c over 1. I get the 1 because there's no denominator. And then you go multiply a and b times 1/c is equal to a and b, a over bc.
Operation of fraction. Number 1, adding, addition. Number 2, division. Number 3, subtraction. Number 4, multiplication. For adding and subtracting fraction, the symbol, which is read plus or minus, indicate that this rule applies both to sum and subtraction. The adding and subtracting rule for fraction is applicable only if both factors have the same denominator. However, will generally not be the case. We will need to rewrite the fraction into equivalent fraction with a common denominator. Adding, adding and subtraction of two fractions if both have a same denominator. However naman, pag iba naman ang denominator nila, you need to find LCD or common least denominator. Example, 2/5 and 1/3. These factors cannot be added together before rewriting them with a common denominator. The smallest common multiple and 5 is 15. 15 will therefore be the common denominator. 2 over 5 plus 1 over 3. 2 equal 2 times 3 equals 6 over 5 times 3 equal 15. Plus 1 times 5 equal 5 over 3 times 5 equal 15. Magiging 6 over 15 plus 5 over 15 equal 11 over 15. Multiplication rule for two fractions. This is important to note that contrary to sum, the multiplication rule does not impose constraints to the denominator values. This means they do not need to be common. It may be useful to simplify fraction before multiplying. In addition to simplifying each factor individually, simplifying the denominator of the one fraction with the numerator of the other fraction is permitted, provided that both have common factors. Ang multiplication of two fractions, common values or LCD, parang i-multiply mo na lang siya parehas. Example, 27 over 16 times 8 over 81. Note that the two fractions are already simplified. Nonetheless, the denominator 16 and the numerator 8 have a 8 as a common factor. The denominator 81 and the numerator 27 have a 27 as a common factor. 7 over 16 times 8 over 81. Note that two fractions are already simplified. Nonetheless, the denominator 16 and the numerator 8 have a common factor which is 8. The denominator 81 and the numerator 27 have common factor 27. It is therefore possible to simplify before multiplying. 27 over 16 times 8 over 81 equal 27 divided by 27 equal 1 over 16 divided by 8 equal 2 times 8 divided by 8 equal 1. 81 divided by 27 equal 3. Therefore, 1 half times 1/3 equal 1/6. Two fraction. The rule allows us to transform a division into multiplication. The same as multiplying the first fraction by the reciprocal of the second factor. But division rule of two fraction, parang babaliktarin mo yung division into multiplication. The first factor, yung unang factor is multiply mo sa reciprocal ng second factor. Example, 2 over 7 divided by 3 over 8. A whole number can always be written as a fraction if an operation is to be done between the number and a fraction. 2/7 divided by 3/8 equal 2/7 times 8/3 equal 2 times 8 equals 16 over 7 times 3 equal 21.
Ratio and proportion. Ratio is the relation between two numbers or two magnitudes of the same kind. It indicates how many times one number contains another. So, a ratio is an ordered pair of number and be written A is to B, where B does not equal to 0. Then the proportion is an equation in which two ratios set equal to each other. So meron tayong two ways of ratio. Two ways of finding ratio. Number one, division. Two, comparing numerator of fraction with the same denominator. For example, a certain island contains 540 cats and 675 dogs. What is the ratio of cat to dog on this island? So, hahanapin daw po natin yung ratio ng cat and dog. Meron tayong, so sa cat, meron tayong 540 and sa dog, meron tayong 675. Divide lang po natin siya sa 5. So, ang magiging equal po ng 540 divided by 5 is 108. And 675 divided by 5 is 135. Kung nakuha nating equal, i-divide po natin siya by 9. So, divided by 9 is 12. Then, 135 divided by 9 is 15. So, ang LCD po ng 12 is 4 and 15 po is 5. So, yung 4/5 po, ita-times natin siya by 3/3. So, makakancel po siya kasi po same po ng number. Then, ang lalabas pong sagot is 4/5. Division, if there are 20 girls and 30 boys, we find the ratio by dividing 20 girls and 30 boys and reduce the lowest term, that is 2/30 and equal 2/3. Ratio of girls and boys 2:3. On the other hand, the ratio of boys and girl are 30/20 equal 3:2. We usually express ratio in terms of whole number, comparing numerator with fraction with the same denominator. If we have a total of 100 short and 30 small size, 50 medium size, and 20 large size short, we have 3/100 small, 50/100 medium, 20/100 large. To get the ratio, we have compared the numerators. Hence, we say that the ratio of small is to medium and is to large is 30:50 is to 20, or 3:5 and is to 2. Adding all the numerators should give us the denominator 30 plus 50 plus 20 equal 100.
In this topic naman, we will be talking about proportion. So, proportion means referring to the equality between ratios. The following are proportions. 1:2 equals 8:16. So, there are also kinds of proportion. It is means and extreme. The means, it is the outside of the proportion, which is 1:16. The inside is extremes, which is 2/8. So when identifying the means and extremes, you can also use it in fraction, which you can identify it using the butterfly equation, like this. The next one, our rule concerning proportions is the product of the means equals the product of extremes. So in getting the proportion, you need to use this equation, which is 1 is to 2 equals 8 is to 16. So kailangan mo munang kunin yung extreme niya, which is the the inside. 2 times 8 equals, yung means naman niya, the outside, 1 times 16. So, 2 times 8 is 16, 1 times 16 is 16. So, ma-identify mo yung proportion kung pareho sila ng sagot. Which is eto, 2 times 8, 16. Yung 1 times 16, 16. So, this is a proportion kasi pareho sila ng sagot. So, in further explanation, where 1 and 16 are our means, and 2 and 8 are our extremes, so we multiply the means 1 and 16 to obtain 16, and the extremes 2 and 8 to obtain 16. Proportions also have three types, which is the direct proportion. It is the comparison between two numbers where the ratio of the two numbers is equal to a constant value. The next one is indirect or inverse proportion. If one variable increases, the other will decrease. And if one variable decreases, then the other will increase. The last one is partitive proportion. From the word partitive itself, meaning divided into parts, is a proportion of a quantity being distributed or divided equally into two or more parts. And for further explanation, direct proportion. Two values x and y are directly proportional to each other when x and y will either increase or decrease together. So, dito kasi sa further explanation na to, yung direct proportion, meron na siyang value which is x and y. And kapag yung x nag-increase, edi yung y magde-decrease. So, it can go other way around also. For example, if 3 pencil cost 15 pesos, how many pencil can you buy with 60 pesos? So in this image, yung numerator natin is 3, which is the 3 pencil that cost 15. So yung 15 na yun yung magiging denominator natin, equals x, because we are finding how many pencil can you buy with 60 pesos. So yung denominator niya, 60 pesos. So kapag i-rewrite natin siya, x equals 3, which is the pencil, 60 pesos over 15. So kapag sinolve na natin siya, 3 times 60 equals 180, and copy the denominator. So after solving that, i-divide naman natin yung nakuha nating answer, which is 180 divided by 15, and the answer would be 12. So yung mabibili mong pencil sa 60 pesos, it is 12 pencils. Next. Sa indirect or inverse proportion naman, it's the two values x and y are inversely proportional to each other, such that if x increases, y decreases, or if x decreases, y increases. It's also the same as direct proportion, but it has a different solution, which means E equals K over N. So it also can be any other variable or any other letters. You can also change it there. And so the T means number of hours. The K means constant of proportionality. And N means number of people. For example, this one, the time to paint a fence is inversely proportional to the number of painters. 2 painters takes 8 hours. So yung hinahanap dito, how long would 3 painters take to paint the fence? Since yung 2 painters daw, kapag nagpaint sila ng fence, 8 hours. 8 hours yung time. Pero yung hahanapin natin ngayon, kung yung 3 painters, ilan yung magiging hours na gagawin nila. So, If we simplify it to the indirect equation, yung k yung hahanapin natin. So the equation would be k equals p times d. So yung p, it will be the two painters. So 2 times 8, the hours of those two people painting the fence. So 2 times 8 is equals to 16. So i-rewrite lang ulit natin yung 16, pero ngayon hahanapin naman natin yung denominator niya. So, yung denominator niya, yun yung hinahanap nating 3 painters. So, i-rewrite mo 16 over 3. Kapag dinivide mo to and gagawin mo siyang mixed number, ang makukuha mo is 5 and 1/3. So, ito na yung oras. Pero kapag sinimplify mo pa siya, ang makukuha mo is 5 hours and 20 minutes. The next one, the last one, is partitive proportion. A partitive proportion naman, ito naman, yung whole is divided into more than 2 parts. For example, divide 430 in the ratio of 2:3 and 5. So, yung number na to, lalagyan lang natin siya ng x kapag sinulat na natin, which is, yung 2 lalagyan ng x, magiging 2x plus 3x plus 5x equals 430. So, nakuha natin yung 430 kasi tinimes natin siya dito. Which is, pero kukunin mo muna pala yung LCD ng tatlong number na to. So, 2 plus 3 plus 5 is 10. Then, copy the x over 10. Over 10, since pareho sila ng number, ika-cancel na lang natin. Tapos yung sagot na 430, i-divide natin siya sa 10. Which is yun kasi yung nakuha nating denominator dito. So kapag dinivide mo siya, ang makukuha mong sagot is 43. So ngayon na nakuha na natin yung x, i-rewrite na ulit natin yung 3x plus 3x plus 5x. Pero yung x, papalitan na natin siya ng 43. So itong 2x, magiging 2 times 43. Yung 3x, 3 times 43. And yung 5x naman, magiging 5 times 43. So yung sagot sa 2 times 43 is 86. 3 times 43 is 129. And 5 times 43 is 215. So the answer would be 86 into 129 and into 215. Yun lang.
Base, rate, and percentage. The percent, base, and rate are connected with one another in terms of computation. To find the percentage, multiply the base by the rate. Remember that the rate must be changed from a percent to decimal before multiplying can be done. Rate times base is equal to percentage. Yung percent, base, and rate, konektado daw sila sa isa't isa kapag compute. Multiply mo yun, pero bago mo i-multiply, yung rate muna, gagawin mo muna siyang from percent to decimal. Tapos pag nagawa mo na siyang decimal, mamultiply mo na siya. Tapos makikita niyo naman sa baba, yung mga kapag percent yung nawawala, yan, yung base, i-multiply mo siya sa rate. Pero kapag rate yung nawawala, yung percent, i-divide mo sa base. Ganon din sa base. Kapag base nawala, yung percent, i-divide mo siya sa rate. The rule in the problem, the amount you are taking a percent of. Yung base daw yung buong number sa problema. Tapos doon mo makukuha yung percent. Example, 32 shipment is 8% of blank shipment. Yung 32 yung percent. Tapos yung 8% naman, siya yung rate. Bali magiging sa dyan, base is equal to percent over rate. Since yung percent natin, yung percentage natin is 32, tapos yung natin siya, i-divide natin siya sa rate na 8%. Pero yung 8% na yun, gagawin muna natin siyang decimal na mas magiging siya 0.08. Bali magiging base is equal to 32 over over 0.08. Tapos pag dinivide mo na yun, kakalabasan, 400, base is equal to 400 shipments.
Ratio equals percentage. What part of 30 is 6? Simplify equation. Rate equal percentage 6 divided by base 30. Sa pagtapos niyan, parang mawawalan percentage sa base dito sa sunod. Parang kinuha lang nung percentage tsaka base yung number. Tapos sabay pagtapos niyan, i-divide na yung 6 tsaka 30. Tapos sabay yung sagot niyan, 1/5. Kaya yung sagot 1/5. 6 is 1/5 of 30.
Percentage. Percentage, the result obtained with the number is multiplied by a percent. P equal B times R. So we need to multiply the base and rate. For example, R given is what is 15% of 200. So first we need to identify the rate, base, and percentage. So our rate is 15% and our base is 200. So obviously, yung missing is percentage. So we need to simplify. P equal B times R. So we multiply the base and rate. So our rate is 200 and our base is 200 and the rate is 15%, but we need to convert into decimal the 15%. So it will be 0.15. So after that, we need to multiply the base and rate. 200 times 0.15 equal 30. So our missing percentage is 30.